And now we have a chance to talk with one of our nominees in the manufacturing category, and it's the OIA Sustainability Working Group, and it's the Outdoor Industry Association. And here I have Beth Jensen to talk with us about it. Beth, welcome. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Beth, tell us a little bit about yourself and the Outdoor Industry Association to start off.
Sure thing. So OIA, we're based in Boulder, Colorado, with an office in Washington, D.C., and we represent around 1,300 member companies globally, but really focused in North America. So brands, retailers, suppliers, and other stakeholders in the outdoor recreation economy. And that economy actually is an $887 billion contributor to the U.S. economy annually.
Wow. Wow. So give us an idea of some of those companies.
Yeah, Patagonia, the North Face, REI are some of the most, the largest and most common, I think, that folks think of. But we also represent what we call suppliers or manufacturers. So folks like WL Gore, which is the manufacturer of Gore-Tex. That's a member company of ours and an important stakeholder in the outdoor industry. And then also specialty retailers as well. So think of your small specialty outdoor shop in your local community. Those are our OIA members as well. And then any service providers in the outdoor industry. So think law firms or PR firms or other types of stakeholders that support the outdoor economy as well.
Oh, that's fantastic. So tell us a little bit about the Sustainability Working Group, how that came to be, and the great collaboration you've
it's a really quite a groundbreaking group, I guess. So about 10 years ago, several of our member companies, REI and Timberland and a few others were among this initial group, really got together at our annual Outdoor Retailer Trade Show, which was then held in Utah, in Salt Lake City, which is now moving to Denver here starting in January of 2018.
Wow.
But these folks got together and said, you know what, we're all starting to think about how to talk about sustainability of our products and brands. Why not come together and develop a common way to talk about that? So a common language and framework for being able to benchmark and measure and communicate sustainability attributes of products and brands. And from there, a product called the Eco Index was born. And this was 2006, 2007 when this was happening. These initial discussions were happening. So fast forward 10 years later, and we have a product, the name has changed, it's now called the HIG Index, and it's being adopted by over 50% of the global supply chain for apparel and footwear.
Wow.
So not only outdoor companies at this point, but also larger global fashion and sporting goods brands like Nike and Adidas and Levi's and Gap and all of these other large companies as well, with the recognition that we're all sharing the same supply chains globally in terms of how our products are made.
Wonderful.
So that product really got its start in the outdoor industry. And from there, this group, which evolved into being called, what we now call today is the Sustainability Working Group, from there, this group really started tackling other supply chain issues that we have in the outdoor and the broader apparel and footwear industries as well. So these are issues like how do we manage chemicals responsibly in terms of how dyes are, for example, applied to products, or waterproofing chemistries or those types of things. Microfiber pollution is another issue that we're working on more recently. So how do we start to develop fabrics that don't shed fibers into the oceans and waterways and contribute to the ocean plastics problem?
Wow. You're really taking so many things into consideration. It's fantastic. We'll talk more with Beth Jensen with the OIA Sustainability Working Group as one of the nominees in the manufacturing category. And we'll be talking with Beth more coming up in the next segment. And first, we'll talk with Vital for Colorado, one of the nominees in energy. And now we're talking with another nominee with Vital for Colorado, nominated in the energy category. And we have Peter Moore here, the CEO and founder of Vital for Colorado. Peter, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Tammy. Thanks a lot. I appreciate the opportunity and very much appreciate the nomination.
Absolutely. Tell us how Vital for Colorado came to be.
Well, Vital for Colorado is now a coalition of about 74,000 people, 1,000 businesses, run by a 15-person member board of directors. But we started in the fall of 2013 out of a Chamber of Commerce effort. And it was really as simple as wanting to go to Houston to thank the companies that were doing business in the oil and gas business for doing business because it was such an important sector, and to ask them what their concerns were. And back in 2013, there was a very strong concern, I think, by the oil and gas industry that it couldn't really fight the fracking wars and all the environmental fights that were forecast to be by itself, and it wanted the assistance of the business community. And so the message we got was that a business organization ought to be formed to organize and try to speak on behalf of this important sector.
Right, and I think the title of your organization, Vital for Colorado, you intended that to say a lot.
Well, that was meant to say that the energy industry is vital for the economic future of Colorado. And the first thing that we did was to write down a statement of principles, and that's the organizing tool for Vital for Colorado. And its principles such that are really very simple principles, such as we believe in science and not hyperbole. We try to avoid the we versus they, that we try to bring people together. We want people to understand the economic impact. We have an all-of-the-above energy policy, and we try to extol, I think, sometimes the strength of the Colorado regulatory system, which I think is not well understood by many people. And we try to advocate for what we call rational energy policy, and we think from the state level it's changed so much, and it's become much, much stronger, much tougher on industry, but it's done so in collaboration many times with industry. And that's the rational process that we are trying to espouse.
Absolutely. Peter, we're going to talk more with you coming up later in today's show. And stay with us. We're talking to all of the nominees for the Colorado Business Roundtable, Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration in Industry Awards. We're planning the awards luncheon to be held December 7th at the Cable Center starting at 11 o'clock. And if you'd like to attend, visit cobrt.com and the events page for more details and to reserve your tickets. We will be back talking with more nominees when we come back from this break. Stay with us. We're so glad you're staying with us today as we talk with nominees for the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration in Industry Awards. And today we're talking with a nominee in the manufacturing category. It's the OIA Sustainability Working Group, and we have Beth Jensen here to tell us more. First of all, welcome, Beth. We're glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So tell us about a little bit how the Sustainability Working Group came together, and that it's a real collaboration.
Yeah. So about 10 years ago at our trade show, the Outdoor Retailer Trade Show, which was then held in Salt Lake City, now going to be held in Denver, starting in 2018, a few of the key members from our industry, so some folks from Timberland and REI and some other companies in our industry got together and said, we really need to come together as an industry to develop a common language and measurement system and framework for talking about sustainability of products and brands in the outdoor industry, and really provide that common platform so that we can move forward together with understanding where the big challenges and barriers are, and work together to address those, since we're all sharing the same supply chains globally. And so from there, the Sustainability Working Group was born, and it's really what we call a pre-competitive collaborative effort among about 200 outdoor companies and other stakeholders who are active in the outdoor recreation economy in the industry, working together to address shared supply chain challenges. So it's environmental issues like chemicals management and how chemicals are applied to products. It's issues like microfiber pollution. So when you wash a garment that's made of a synthetic fabric, it's often shedding tiny microparticles off into the oceans and waterways. And how can we start to help address that issue in conjunction with a number of other industries like industrial textiles and carpets and so forth that are part of that issue as well. It's making sure that the workers are treated fairly in supply chains around the world. So the latest stats that I've seen, and this is general for the broader apparel and footwear industry, but it's 97% of apparel and 98% of footwear are still made overseas. And so recognizing that, we're not, often the brands are based in North America or Europe, and then the production is actually happening elsewhere. And so how do we develop systems that work collaboratively with those supply chain partners toward best practices in the supply chain? And that's really what our collaborative group is intended to address.
Well, and I appreciate this concept at the Sustainability Working Group, that collaborative group. So you're sharing the responsibility, you're sharing the research. So
yes.
So you're all given the same information
Yep, all given the same information and really looking at the concept of the rising tide raises all boats. So, you know, it's addressing issues that no one company can address alone, frankly.
Right.
So, you know, if a company like Patagonia or the North Face or many others, and they often do come up with their own, you know, really innovative concepts and strategies for addressing some of these issues. OIA and our Sustainability Working Group provides them with the platform to then roll out those concepts or scale those best practice concepts to the benefit of the broader industry, really. And it's really served as a model. Just the model in general, this pre-competitive collaborative model has served as inspiration for other industries and sectors globally to adopt a similar type of model and for competitor companies to really work together toward these shared issues, recognizing, again, that no one company can do them alone.
Give us an example of some of the impact of this collaboration project. So, as you mentioned in that first segment, developing this Higg index, and that tell us how that came about and why it matters.
Yeah, so you know, it had its roots in that initial discussion at Outdoor Retailer, and for about 3 years there until 2011, 3 to 4 years there until 2011. The outdoor industry and our collaborative group specifically went forth with developing basically a shared set of questions that you should be asking about your brand level practices in sustainability, your product level practices. So with each different individual product that you're manufacturing, what are the specific things that you're doing to create those products, and then overall with your suppliers and your supply chain. So at the factory level, what are the practices happening there? So those are really the three different elements of it. The Outdoor Industry Association Sustainability Working Group really developed the initial content for that. And then in 2011, a broader group was formed, and it's called the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. And the Outdoor Industry Association, along with many of our larger members, are founding members of that group, which includes, again, broader companies like Nike and Adidas and H&M and Zara and Levi's and Gap and all of these larger companies that aren't specific to outdoor. Because the outdoor industry recognized that in order to take it to the next level, we really needed to scale it into these broader global companies that have much larger supply chains than most in the outdoor industry. And so in 2011, this tool, which was then called the Eco Index, was adopted by this broader global group in conjunction with several other tools, including some great sustainability data that Nike had collected over the years. And that now has transformed into what's called the Higg Index. And again, that's being adopted by about 50%. The estimate is about 50%, really? Possibly more, of the global supply chain in apparel and footwear. So it's really this groundbreaking tool that now, you know, even governments, for example, in the European Union in particular, are looking to as they try to develop policies around sustainability and making sure that those types of concepts are embedded into companies into the future. So.
Wow, it's a lot of great work that's gone into this, and working with so many of the companies which would otherwise be considered competitors.
Correct.
All working together.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, as I said, you know, we've really paved the way for other industries and sectors to adopt a similar model. So really, the Outdoor Industry Group paved the way for the broader apparel and fashion industry group called the Sustainable Apparel Coalition to exist and show proof of concept that model could actually work. And we've now been getting calls from other industries and sectors who really want to adopt a similar model as well to address shared supply chain challenges, particularly for consumer products companies. You know, you think about the electronics industry or the automotive industry or the food industry or, you know, just some of these other industries and sectors. And then, you know, and then even sectors that are more tangential to outdoor, like bike or ski and snow or you know, water sports, and they all have their own trade associations as well. So, you know, we really feel like we can help share some of the knowledge and best practices that we've gleaned over the course of the last 10 years and kind of figuring out how to work in this pre-competitive collaborative way. We really feel like this is a model that can be useful for other industries to address, you know, some really big issues in the future as well.
You talk about some of those big issues. Can you give us examples? You mentioned like the microfiber kind of shedding and
Yeah, microfiber shedding is one. There are all sorts of different chemicals management challenges. And that gets real technical real quickly, but just at a high level, things like waterproofing chemistries. So traditionally, to make a jacket or a pair of ski pants, waterproof, breathable, you apply a specific type of chemistry, and just looking at, are there less impactful ways to get at that same level of performance?
Okay.
Another example is currently various regulations require, if you're going to be selling a tent in certain states in the United States, a camping tent, they require you to apply flame retardant chemistry. So supposedly to help, protect the tent from catching on fire, if there's a spark from your campfire or something like that. One of the things that our group is looking into is, are those chemistries even really effective, or are we, being forced to apply this chemistry that perhaps, is more impactful on the chemistry side of things than really is protecting human health. Yeah, exactly. So just kind of exploring those complex issues and trying to be good stewards, basically, of the environment and of our, the people and the communities in which we're working globally. And and just really trying to address those best practices in the supply chain in a collaborative way.
I'm talking with Beth Jensen. She is the Senior Director of Sustainable Business Innovation. And we're talking about the OIA Sustainability Working Group, one of the nominees in the manufacturing category for the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration in Industry Awards. And Beth, it's so exciting to see, all of these companies and organizations working together, like we said, to share the resources, share the information, do the research, right?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of companies who, again, have pioneered really interesting practices on their own.
Of course.
So, have come out with really groundbreaking and innovative ideas that will help improve supply chains globally. What we at Outdoor Industry Association can provide is a platform to scale those innovations and really allow other industries or other companies within our industry, to use similar innovations and to leverage those. And I give our industry a lot of credit as well, because, typically companies will want to be able to get, some really good marketing value out of putting in a lot of resources on their own into a concept. We've built sort of a capacity now within the outdoor industry where it's almost an expectation that companies will, perhaps develop something like that, get their mileage out of it, as a proprietary initiative for 6 to 12 months or so, and then they'll sort of gift it to the rest of the industry through this collaborative working group and think through how to scale those best practices across the supply chain. So it's fascinating, and it's fascinating that it has, really its roots right here in Colorado, with the home office for the Outdoor Industry Association being based right here in Boulder, with really a global impact, based on the fact that the majority of these products and manufacturing locations are overseas. So.
Thank you so much. And this is the Colorado Business Roundtable's first, it's our inaugural Collaboration in Industry Awards. Can you know what it might mean for the OIA Sustainability Working Group to perhaps get that inaugural award in the manufacturing category?
Well, it would be really impactful for us. We would, we'd be so thankful and fortunate. I think we're really trying to do a better job of raising the profile of all of this great work that our industry members have been doing in this groundbreaking collaborative way for 10 years. So, we celebrated the 10-year anniversary of this work just in January of this past year. And, as a trade association, we often haven't had the resources to really go out and more effectively, blast or talk about more broadly about all of this great work that's happening. We've really chosen to focus our resources on doing the actual work, which is great. But, I think there's so much benefit that looking at this model can provide for other industries and sectors, as they're, again, seeking to address their own shared supply chain challenges, or just really shared challenges in general within other industries. And so we'd be really thankful, not only selfishly for our group, but also just, I think to help get the word out that this model does exist and that it can be useful in other applications as well.
That would be fantastic. Thank you so much, Beth Jensen, with the OIA I said it right. The OIA Sustainability Working Group.
That's right.
One of our nominees in the manufacturing category for the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration and Industry Awards. Stay with us. We'll be talking with Vital for Colorado next, one of our nominees in the energy category. Stay with us. Thanks so much for staying with us today as we're talking with nominees for the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration in Industry Awards. Today I'm talking with Vital for Colorado, a nominee in the energy category, and Peter Moore is the CEO and founder.
Well, thanks a lot, Tammy. We're a nonprofit company. We've been in operation since the fall of 2013 and in active operation for now about 3.5 years, I suppose.
Yes, and I understand you came to a realization that you needed to get kind of everybody on board, or as many people on board as possible, to demonstrate just how critical oil and gas and the energy industry is for Colorado's economy.
Well, the effort was really to try to educate people as the various elements of our 7 Principles Pledge. And when we first started, we thought we'd be pretty lucky. We were members of the South Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce. I was on the board of directors and the legal counsel for the chamber at that time. And we thought we'd have great success. We had, 500,000 or 1,500 people. And as we wrote the 7 Principles Pledge, which is our organizing tool, and as we started to form the members of our board of directors, during the last 3 years, we've had great success. We've gone far beyond those numbers. We are now probably the largest grassroots organization, I'm told by many, in the history of Colorado. We have over 74,000 people in our coalition, over 1,000 businesses, and we grow through getting people to actually sign the pledge that we have. So we have it online on our website, and we have it in paper form, and people sign it in, and that's how we add to our coalition. And hopefully people that sign do so sincerely because they believe in the basic common sense principles, such as let's focus on science, let's focus on and try to strengthen the regulatory regime. Let's understand the economic impact. Let's appreciate how many jobs are being given to the state, and let's understand what the economic impact and the GDP is. Then most importantly, I think, is I think all the members of our board of directors and I think all the members of our coalition believe in all the above energy policy, and we try to think about what is necessary to bring different elements of energy policy, but we also try to think about not trying to throw away major portions of the energy policy before it's time for others to take its place. And one that really jumps out at me is coal, for example. Coal is now 55% of our base load for electricity. And in Colorado's had a great history through several administrations of changing from coal to natural gas, but that takes decades. And Colorado has really become a leader in terms of that type of conversion, and the country as a whole has become a much cleaner country because of that conversion. But we want the conversion and to be rational and each in its own time, I suppose.
Well, and that's just it, is that you have to watch if they're calling for some sweeping regulatory change. It doesn't happen that fast.
Well, sometimes there are important regulatory changes that do happen fairly quickly, but the style that we appreciate the most is when it's collaborative. Probably the methane regulations in 2013 are great examples of that, because those regulations, which significantly improved the health and environment in Colorado, were the result of conversations and agreements between the industry that was producing the minerals, the state of Colorado, which wanted to regulate them, and the Environmental Defense Fund, which is not shy about the environment. And those 3 separate constituencies all agreed upon regulations that now I think are model for the country.
So when we want to talk about how Vital for Colorado has shown outstanding collaboration, it's really kind of pulling, it's your process of the growth of the organization, right?
Well, probably the best example, I guess, of our community outreach and our success in terms of collaboration, I think of the two as being the same, is really just the growth of the organization. So we go out probably each year to 90 to 100 events to every summer festival that is there. We try to give educational speeches. We've done this radio show
yes,
through ICOSA and
the Colorado Business
the
Roundtable.
Colorado Business Roundtable, I think for 42 hours programming so far, and trying to bring people in and just talk about issues. We have a new initiative in the fall of 2017, and we have, I guess, restarted or tried to restart the Bighorn Institute down in Colorado Springs. And here we have 30 fellows that might be mayors. I think 2 of them are mayors. I think 10 of the 30 folks work for the state of Colorado. We have newspaper people. We have academics, and we're trying to educate them on energy policy with the hope that they themselves can then go out in their communities and have a better conversation, I guess, about energy issues.
Yes, and your Vital for Colorado is advised by a substantial board, and it's the membership of that board that I think reflects the variety of businesses and organizations in Colorado that support Vital.
Definitely. Very, very proud of our board, and we've had more than our current 15 members over the years. We've had, probably about 23 or 24 board members, but they come from the various companies and organizations. Our current board has folks, Kevin Hogan, for example, the Aurora Chamber of Commerce, Bob Golden of the South Denver Metro Chamber of Commerce, Lauren Furman from what many people call the State Chamber of Commerce, the Colorado Association of Commerce and Industry, Mayor Mike Donovan from the city of Glendale, Gail Denninger, who is the president of a logistics company that actually organizes and is a major contributor to the Colorado Business Roundtable.
Right.
And we have, I guess, many other board members, but we try to pick a very broad swath of people. We're continuing to try to expand our board and to make it more of a statewide effort as opposed to a front range effort, but I think I think that we'll get there over time.
Thank you. We're talking with Peter Moore, the founder and CEO of Vital for Colorado. Vital for Colorado is one of the nominees for the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration and Industry Awards in the energy category. And you're nominated with it's Vital for Colorado, then Denver Petroleum Club and CU Denver Global Energy Management Program, and the Clean Energy Collective. So that's who you're nominated with. I would like
It's a very good group.
It is a good group, and I'm sure you work collaboratively with each of them as well.
Yeah.
So I'd like to know, Peter, what might it mean in this inaugural award with the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration and Industry Awards? What would it mean to win that first one in the energy category?
Well, part of our goal is to make the existence of our organization better known. So it would definitely help with regard to that, and we'd be very, very honored. And we're actually very honored just to be nominated and to be part of this first effort. So our issue is to try to make the efforts of Vital for Colorado better known. My personal goal is that I'd like to continue to grow the coalition, and I don't know where it might go beyond 74,000, but you can think of various numbers, and then eventually you're starting to have a fairly large group in the state of Colorado that, at least in terms of basic principles of how they think about the energy, have basic agreement, because each of them have signed a pledge. And so our goal is probably just to spread our pledge as far and as wide as we can, and the ultimate goal is to have better conversations and more intelligent conversations about policy issues.
Absolutely.
The actual results will change over time. We're more interested in making sure that the process is good, and so that's the goal of our organization.
That is just what we want to hear. Thank you so much, Peter Moore, President and CEO of Vital for Colorado, one of our nominees in the energy category for the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration and Industry Awards. Stay with us after the break. We're going to talk more about the upcoming award and the upcoming event and the The Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration and Industry Awards are coming up December 7th. You can find ticket information on the events page at cobrt.com. Stick with us. We have more coming up after the break. We're so glad you're staying with us today for Connect and Collaborate. And today, especially as we're talking with nominees for the Colorado Business Roundtable Collaboration in Industry Awards. Jeff Wasden is joining me now this segment, and we can kind of recap some of these great businesses and organizations that are working together.
Well, it gives us a great chance to actually highlight and celebrate winners. You'll notice I'm wearing my 49ers. We do film this now. We're on a winning streak, and like the Broncos, so I wanted to get in a winning spirit. I play quarterback.
Colorado Business Roundtable. You don't belong in Colorado, and now, okay, I get it. So you don't support the Broncos.
No, that's my 1A team.
I don't know enough about football to argue with you, so go ahead. Wear your San Francisco jersey.
But we're talking about winning. So this gives us an incredible opportunity to talk about not only winners, and ultimately we're going to recognize a winner, but some incredible finalists. And we get a chance to see some incredible companies. We work with some incredible companies. Part of the joy of the Colorado Business Roundtable is we get to work across so many great industries and sectors. So we're not limited. We're, while we deal with some incredible technology companies or aerospace companies, we also work with manufacturing and oil, gas, and the financial services and healthcare. And this gives us a great chance to really talk about the successes and people that really understand the power of collaboration and working together, and having these incredible finalists come in and talk about their stories, and then us to be able to celebrate them, thank them for understanding the Colorado and Western way, and then award one of them in each of these 12 categories as our winner is going to be an incredible opportunity for us. It's not easy.
No.
We work with many of these great companies. We know many, so we've actually have given this challenging Herculean task to
select a winner in each category, right?
To an independent group, and so I don't know who is going to win until we get to open up the envelope. It'll be fun, Oscar Academy style, but we're excited to do that. And I know you're interviewing. Several of these finalists.
Yes, and as I'm interviewing them, I'm like, oh, this is a really good one. This one should win. And then you interview the next one, and you're like, wait, they're great too.
Well, yeah, because I mean, part of what I think people understand is we get the ability to focus in on working in the business, but you also want to work on your business as well. And you want to be able to understand that sometimes you need to come up for air, right? The pressures, the deadlines. A lot of our small business owners that wear multiple hats, dealing with HR, dealing with production schedules, probably dealing with payroll and HR issues and other things. This gives you a chance to say, how can we work together for the betterment of all? And so many of these great finalists really have done above and beyond, gone that extra mile to really figure out how they can collaborate and partner with other groups. One of them I know we're going to talk about today is Vital for Colorado that you had on earlier.
Right.
Vital is a perfect example of why we did not want to.
Yeah, why somebody else is tabulating the results.
And coming up with the winners, because I serve on the Vital board, and full disclosure. And we do 2 shows a month with Vital for Colorado here on Connect and Collaborate. So we wanted to make sure that this was looked at by an independent group. But, Vital is a great example of folks across industries, across sectors that say this is an important industry to the state of Colorado.
Right.
If you're in the oil gas industry, yeah, it matters to you and you care about it and you understand. But you also want to have the support, the understanding, the appreciation from others that value that industry and know how important it is to the state of Colorado, the GDP and local communities. And so Vital was created at an initiative of South Metro Chamber years ago. We've been involved with that. Both Gail and I serve on the Vital board. Peter Moore that runs that does an incredible job. There's great leaders like Bob Golden, South Metro, Warren Herman over at Casey, Kevin Hogan at the Aurora Chamber. You've got folks from the Farm Bureau on there. It's just a great group that really says it doesn't matter whether you come from financial services, from banking, from education, from the nonprofit world. We want to, as a collection of business leaders, we want to come together and say this is important to our state. it may be your industry that's under fire attack next. The oil and gas industry
Right.
has certainly been under the gun. There's been a lot of discussions about emissions, safety issues, setbacks. And I think, while they feel they're under attack, that industry is threatened. They're certainly non-renewable. Certainly the emergence and the importance of the renewable energy sector, wind, solar, has certainly added additional pressures as this push has been
Right,
upon
but
that
to
industry.
recognize that need, that you can't change it all at once.
And that need, and you can't, and the importance of all and above all strategy, right? And that's really what we advocate and talk for. It's good policy. Good policy creates those lasting, significant economic growth, the developments, the investment in the community, and that's what the Business Roundtable advocates for. What we think about when you're in Vital is it's oil gas today, but it could be a different industry that's
Right.
undergone. It could be construction with anti-growth movements and
Sure.
developments and trying to shut down all growth in construction. And then what happens to all the workers? All the folks that within construction, whether you're an electrician, whether you're a plumber,
Yeah, the
you wanna
skilled
continue to
trades, the
support all
supplies
of the
that
trades in that industry. And so everybody comes together, talks about why that matters, and that's an important industry, and it's great to see Vital being recognized as one of the finalists in that industry. Another one of the groups we talked about that you interviewed earlier was the OIA Sustainability Working Group.
And that's in the manufacturing category for our collaboration and industry awards. And just talking with Beth on that, it's really great work where they're like combining all of their information and resources and research so that all of these outdoor companies can look at their supply chain and look at sustainability.
Well, and again, it's efficiencies, it's economies of scale, it's how they can, collaborate together, the co-opetition model, and there's been different words that have been created, but you've got 150 outdoor brands, retailers, suppliers, stakeholder organizations that, again, instead of competing against each other, circling the wagons, have decided that, hey, together there are certain things that we can do as you start to look at supply chain sustainability. How can we collaborate, work together under this umbrella organization, this working group that now has grown and swelled to 350 individuals from that outdoor industry? There's a lot of key issues, right? When you think about the things that they're working on, animal welfare, climate mitigation, chemistry, sustainable packaging, product care, these are important. And while one company may not have all the answers, there's certainly abilities to learn from others, to share best practices, to build on each other's strengths, to multiply and augment each other's efforts. And that is, the epitome of what we're trying to do here. We're going to come together in December. We're going to celebrate that at our Collaboration Industry Awards, and we're honored to have so many nominations that came in,
Yes.
and certainly some incredible finalists as well.
And that is the Collaboration in Industry Awards by the Colorado Business Roundtable coming up Thursday, December 7th. It's going to be at the Cable Center at 11 o'clock. I think there might be, maybe not tables, but seats available still.
So, yeah, there's just a few seats left. We're now under 50 seats. I know yesterday we had a few extra than that, but people are continuing to jump on and purchase seats as every day gets closer. We're so excited about this. Just another incredible event. The Business Roundtable that really focuses on policy, the use of media. Events has been an integral piece of what we've accomplished. We just had our legislative reception. We've got an immigration event coming up. We've done things on trade, on cyber. Next year, we're already working on our schedule. But this is really the pinnacle. This is the highlight. It's our opportunity to come together and celebrate collaboratively in this state with a Governor Hickenlooper, that understands collaboration, understands the power of working together, bringing in Jim Clifton, that's going to talk about the future of jobs and the workforce and changes and things that they've learned through all of their polling and research that happens at Gallup. All of the polling and research, things that they learned every day at Gallup, an opportunity to then celebrate and hand out final awards to 12 deserving companies, although all 38 that were recognized as finalists, and all the other 50 plus that were nominated
That were entered,
were just as deserving.
Yeah, it's
and so
wonderful.
I'm glad I didn't have to do that part.
No kidding.
So excited. I thought policy was hard, right? Focusing on NAFTA, focusing on tax reform, that's
like,
actually pretty easy compared to working on.
How do you pick between your friends and all these great industries in our state that
so yeah, we're so excited.
are
Come
really
join
moving
us.
Colorado forward.
Yeah.
Yes, come join us again December 7th at Cable Center at 11 o'clock. If there's tickets available, you'll find them at cobrt.com on the events page. So thanks again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you then.